One thing the Arizona Cardinals have not done very well, among other things, is adjust mid-game and now adjust mid-season when game plans aren't going to plan. What does that look like? Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, now the #1 sports podcast network. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. New customers, bet $5. If your bet wins, get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. So that's pretty sweet. What isn't sweet is Drew Petzing speaking in, I don't know, a world that doesn't connect to this one again in his presser today. I'll discuss. Do you start Kyler when he comes back from the IR? This isn't clickbait. This isn't anything other than we haven't talked about it yet. Because as it inches closer, got a couple weeks now, is it something they should do or if that's it for him? And then adjustments. I am following through with my promise at the end of last show when we're talking about adjustments and things that good teams do when things aren't going well and you're losing games, you adjust. It's a game plan, it's personnel, it's looks and schemes on defense, it's doing things to keep opposing offenses or defenses guessing. And the Cardinals seem to lack the ability to do that at a level that yields victories. And I know they've got the injuries. I know it's not Kyler and it's Jacoby. I know the offensive line hasn't been great. I know the coaching has been suspect. But the biggest thing for me, and I think it's pretty clear, when adjustments aren't being made, that's a direct correlative to coaching. Hashtag analysis. Adjustments in game are quarterbacks checking at the line. Adjustments in game, in play, are cornerbacks or safeties jumping routes, linebackers jumping routes for interceptions. Those are like, second-to-second adjustments. Overarching, theoretical game scheme adjustments usually happen at halftime for good teams. But when you go through the season, especially if you're playing the same team twice in division like the Cardinals have in back-to-back weeks, it doesn't seem like adjustments have been made. And I know against Seattle, the 2 strip sacks kind of threw every sort of game plan out the window. And I know last week, their inability to run the ball, which is going to be highlighted in the final segment with Drew Petzing, speaking in ridiculous sentences that just happen to be words put together that make sense. But when you're really talking about what he's talking about, they don't make sense. Adjustments were neither made at halftime nor since the last game they played. The games with Kyler were much closer. Sure. Defense played a lot better. Absolutely. The offense didn't play great against Seattle for the first 3 quarters, but then, had a roaring comeback that almost resulted in a win. I can't say that. Almost resulted in a win. Resulted in them being in the game with 20 seconds left. And then the game plan and adjustments just weren't made these last 2 weeks. I know they were outmanned by Seattle. I know they were outmanned against San Francisco, at least from the coaching sense. What do those adjustments look like? Moving forward, going through this season, I know that I was pretty sharp-tongued yesterday. I probably could have done a little bit better job explaining what I was thinking as opposed to just saying, let's be better doing this collectively. I could have done a better job of that. So for that, I'm sorry. This is why the Cardinals were not adjusting, and this is what they can do to adjust, to stay in games, and hopefully win a couple in the last set. They're not blitzing nearly enough. And I don't know why. This is the best secondary the Cardinals have had in a while, and now numbers are skewed at this point, and this isn't a step back. This is just factual. Numbers are skewed at this point when you have Denzel Burke out there and not Will Johnson. We have Keitrell Clark out there, but not Max Melton or Garrett Williams. But when all healthy, and Rabbit missed yesterday too, or whatever, Sunday also. But when you have a pretty strong secondary, when you have 90% of the guys or 100% of the guys out there, and you've got some juice up front now, I don't know why they're not using it more. They used it a lot last year. A lot of it was because the secondary wasn't where it needed to be. You had Mac Wilson and Budda Baker running side by side, ball hawking after a quarterback. And you don't see it much this year. You see them rushing 4. You see them not getting home for a large portion of it, and it's concerning. What do? Blitz the house, man. I want some Todd Bowles up in this B. I want some aggressive play calling from the defensive side of the ball. And listen, the Cardinals are probably not going to make the playoffs. They're not statistically eliminated yet, but the chances are they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Hashtag analysis. That's 2 in the first 6 minutes. Not fantastic. Send pressure. If you're going to make mistakes, make them big. I don't care. Send pressure. Bring guys. Bring Budda. Bring Jalen Thompson. Hell, bring Cody Simon. I know he's not as talented at that yet, like Mac Wilson has had a proclivity to be. Cody Simon, 12 tackles this past week? I didn't really talk about him much. Had a pretty solid day. Bring the house. A lot. I want to see them in the top 10 of blitz percentages. Like, what do you got to lose? And I would have said this from week 1. Like, you've got the arsenal and the firepower to do it, and I don't know why they're not. And if they are, it's not very effective and hasn't been for the last handful of weeks. That's one. Offensively, adjust. Number 1, and this is obvious, but unfortunately, you're down to your 4th and 5th string dudes. You got to run the ball better. And this isn't like, it seems counterintuitive because the offense, at least numbers-wise, has been producing well through the pass game. I know 2 of those touchdowns last week were garbage time. The Trey McBride and the Greg Dortch one. I understand that. They can't run the ball. Learn how to run the ball. Like before, it didn't matter who's quarterback. It didn't matter who's in the backfield. They were able to run the ball, and that's gone. So that it lends me to believe that's a Clayton Adams thing and a Justin Fry first year in the NFL thing. It leads me to believe that, which then Drew Petzing has to adjust and completely change the game plan and make this West Coast huck-it offense, throwing the ball 57 times, which is bonkers. Jacoby Brissett, highest percentage ever for anybody that threw over 40 completions last week. So, that's just factual. That's the adjustment that needs to be made. You need to run the ball. Get Greg Dortch back there. Figure it out. Run solely off tackle and not up the gut. Get Trey McBride in there to block. Like, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out for the rest of the season. That's something. And it's not as fun. It's not as sexy because I love seeing Jacoby drop back. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. That's one. And then number 2, and this is probably the biggest one, okay? And the biggest adjustment for the offense is you need to get Michael Wilson involved almost at a fringe Marv level. If Jacoby Brissett's going to throw the ball 50 times, and let's just say he averages between 30 and 40 attempts, let's just say it doesn't go complete Looney Tunes status for the rest of the year. Let's just say 12 targets for Trey, 10 targets for Marv, 8 targets for Michael Wilson. Like, Michael Wilson that's not a flash in the pan. A lot of it was garbage time, sure. Most of it wasn't. The proof of concept was already there. The dude is a good receiver. And he has the most to gain for the rest of the year. He has the most to gain out of anybody on offense. Maybe Trey Benson too. He has the most to gain because they are in dire need of a wide receiver too. And he is one that just haven't gotten in the ball until Jacoby Brissett took over. Do with that as you wish. That's just factual. I don't care. I'm not needling. That's just a factual statement. If the Cardinals have a 3-headed monster in the pass catching game next year with Trey, Marv, and Michael Wilson, that puts them in a great situation because much maligned has been this pass catching group. Maybe it's because Michael Wilson wasn't getting the touches necessary to show that he is actually a good receiver with potential to be excellent. And that could bode very well for the Cardinals moving forward. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This is not clickbait. This is not anything other than we haven't discussed it yet, and you and I discuss everything on this show. Should the Cardinals start Kyler when he's off IR? Next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Bink, FanDuel, NBA, full swing. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And even if you missed the start of the game and want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets and do a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making the late push. Like, we've seen wild comebacks this year. So if you want to put a little cheese on a huge, underdog going into the fourth quarter down 12 or 15 points, maybe make some cheese off of it, why not? You can do it at FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, and thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. It's absolutely insane that this is where we are saying that. This is absolutely insane. 9th season, man. It's absolutely insane. I just don't understand how this has happened. And it's great. It's one of those incredible things that you don't know what it's going to be like starting out, and then you just do a show every day for 9 years, and this is where we are. It's unbelievable. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Now let's talk about the Cardinals. Yuck, am I right? No, I'm just kidding. Do you start Kyler Murray if he's healthy, at some point this season? This is one where it's just like, hey, let's talk together about this. Because you can give the pros. It's fun to watch Kyler Murray play football. That's for sure. He's making $50 million, 46, something like that, I think, this year. He's been the franchise guy. There's no ill will between him and the team. And Jacoby Brissett's not winning games. So, for the Cardinals side, positively, you bring him in, he plays well, it ups his trade value. Or you bring him in, he plays well, and you run it back with him. I've said that I think he's played his last down as a Cardinal, okay? And I believe that. I've been wrong like once before, so there's always room for a second one. There's always room for a second one, so maybe. I think it's factually correct that the offense looks better with Jacoby. I also think that Kyler Murray's a better quarterback. Both can be true. Absolutely both can be true. I've been a Kyler guy since day one. I do think with this offense, Jacoby's the better guy. And I'm not going to get an argument. I just think that's what it is. So when he comes, if Kyler Murray's healthy, he's designated to return, do you give back? Because, it's not like he's healthy and he's healthy scratch, wearing his helmet every day. He's injured. So when it comes to that, it's not like they're choosing Jacoby Brissett over him. That would come when he gets removed from IR and then he's healthy, if that happens. I don't know the severity of his injury. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Do you start him? Benefits. You can show him off for other teams. You can show him off for your own team and see if you want to run it back. Downside. He comes back. He doesn't play very well. Maybe he's, I don't know. Maybe he's gritting through an injury or something like that. But, he's healthy enough to be, to come off IR and he wants to play. So downside is you could jettison the trade value, of which people aren't even thinking you're going to get a first-round pick for him right now, which I think is a little ridiculous. I think it's a little ridiculous. The Jets have 36 first-round picks the next 2 years. They would give one up, even if it's in the 2027 draft. So that's a downside. And it also kind of removes any sort of momentum you've got with Jacoby Brissett because by all accounts, chances are with Jacoby Brissett under contract next year, he's going to be the incumbent to start in 2026. And what we've seen from him with how efficient he was this past week, I know a lot of it was in garbage time, but he's been more good than bad. Without a run game, without a right side of the offensive line, and with the defense that somehow is like a crisis of conscience or a crisis of like identity of like what they are as a defense. And they're playing good teams. So, like, I think it could be far worse than Jacoby Brissett in 2026. If you can get your run game back and you draft a right tackle and you sign a left guard and maybe you draft a right guard, like you put all the work into the offense that you did for the defense last year. You ride with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe you bring in, another vet to back him up. And then you draft a quarterback in 2027. Do I think right now, and this could change, but as currently constructed, do I think right now it would be the move to start Kyler Murray when he's designated to return from IR? I don't know. Can I say I don't know? Am I allowed to say I don't know? Am I allowed to? I'd probably lean to yes, because he's your starting quarterback. And I know that 99% they're moving off from him, which it'd be good for both sides, I think. But still, he's your starting quarterback. He was not Wally pipped. He is injured. That's why the backup is starting. I will go back to one of the either smartest or dumbest things I've said this year is Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett is the best choice to start for this team, and it should still be Kyler Murray starting. Both can be true. That's the big brain stuff that we do here, which could also be massive stupidity. I don't know. I toe that line a lot. Would it be the best move to start Kyler Murray when he's designated to return from IR if that happens this year? Yes. Will it make the offense look worse? Maybe. Probably. Because this offense isn't catered to him. And that is a huge, huge indictment of this coaching staff. So, if Kyler Murray designated to return and he's healthy, I think he's starting. Especially with the season lost, playoff-wise. I just think that that's the case. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think they're both right and they're both wrong, which is not a great situation to be in. You know? It's like, it's so hard with this team. You know, my brain scrambled eggs, as I'm sure you guys can understand and commiserate with, because we're all in this together. Like, sometimes you wish you're, doing an interpretive dance, listening to Sweet Child of Mine in a folk version of it in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Like, you're hoping you're way out of even talking about this team, and then you realize there's good here. There's good here with this team. It just needs to be massaged out more. There's good here, and we know it. For, even if you're hard on this team like I am, like I get it. There's good pieces here. And that, when we talk about the blame pie, and I don't like saying blame pie, I don't like doing that like cliched thing, is it coaching or is it players? Yes is the answer. And also, what I've said for a long time on this show, and I'll use the Kyler Murray example because it's the one that I use the most, is when you've got a guy who has that many oh my God moments that we've seen over the years and wonder why they're not happening more, that's coaching. Sure. It's on the player too. Sean McVay gets the oh my God moments with reckless abandon out of B-level players. And the Cardinals are struggling to get that from their guys. So you start calling when he comes back? Yeah. Is it the right move? Who knows? But I think that's what you do with the natural progression of things. When your starting quarterback is healthy, you play him. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. And that is TBD. Can change, not in Sharpie opinion. But as of right now, with all the information given, yeah. Drew Petzing, propaganda. I say that jokingly because it's two P's. Alliteration. English. Next. Now remember, this is Cody.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. Sorry for the later show today, dealing with some stuff. But yeah, Tony Wiggins, Locked On Jaguars, one of my buddies. We're doing that crossover tomorrow, so that'll be fun. We've got the squad show tonight. At I believe in about at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock Arizona time. So check out that as well. Petzing propaganda. I say that tongue in cheek. Obviously, propaganda is not a word I like to use, but you don't understand what I mean. So this is Tio Mackey, AZ Central. I'm gonna get him on the show in the next week or so. His tweet was, the Cardinals only ran for 2.6 yards per carry against the 49ers, but Drew Petzing said he was encouraged by their efficiency. Their 50% success rate was the second best mark of the season. Quote, I thought we ran the ball effectively. They didn't. So I kind of feel bad for the coaches when it comes to, this part of the season with the interviews. They're getting asked the same questions as they should. The media does a great job here. Like, this isn't me taking this out of either. Because I think a lot of times the coaches are giving terrible answers. And I think a lot of that is Michael Bidwell, truly. This is what it's always been. Like, it's just what it is. There's only so many questions you can ask when things continue to stay the same. I feel bad kind of for Drew Petzing as a person. I usually just talk about these people as avatars, obviously, because these are never personal attacks or anything like that. That's one of my big disclaimers that I give. I feel bad for him because he's got to answer these questions. The offense looks aesthetically better than with Kyler here. I think that's an indictment of Drew Petzing, sure. Losing a lot of games in a row. They'd lost, outside of the Dallas game, like, yikes. It has been just straight red L's. They've been close. The offenses looked okay. The offenses looked bad. It's hard for Drew Petzing because of the turnovers. Like, the scoop and score twice against Seattle. It's like, well, may as well burn that game plan that we spent all week scheming. But the answers is just like, when the numbers and the eye test obviously don't coincide with what we're saying here, it's like, come on. Even a sense of we got to run the ball better. Cool. I'm in. You're right. Yippee. Let's go get a beer. It's like, we're being efficient. No, you're not. And it's not like, no, James Conner is it's such a killer. It's such a killer. No Trey Benson, less of a killer, but still a killer. Amari DeMarcado's been banged up. Michael Carter was a flash in the pan. Bam Knight. Like, there's a reason why these guys aren't starting backs. And Bam looked pretty good. Like, he's looked pretty good. That was kind of a bogus holding call on Pharaoh Brown on the 60-yard house call. But it's like, so maybe you can help me with this. How do I allocate my stressors for the rest of the year? It's like, do you just punt on whatever the coaches say at the end of games? Do you just compartmentalize it to where it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're saying what they're allowed to say. They're not going to tell us jack. So why stress over it? Am I compartmentalizing my stressors enough? I don't think so. I think I'm going more Looney Tunes banana sandwich than what I should be for my mental health. But it just needs to be addressed because nothing's changed. All of these answers are the same. And they're just non-congruent to what we're watching. Incongruent? Yeah. They're not rooted in truth. They're not. Now, of course, the house call is like the touchdown's like, okay, well, that would obviously help things a little bit. I think at this point, and I was all for it. What did I say? I said, let it rip. Friday. I'm like, yeah, throw it. And they listened, and Jacoby Brissett was very efficient. Unfortunately, 2 of his incompletions were interceptions, but he was very efficient. And yeah, they get in 3rd and 15s. Sure. Jacoby Brissett has been eons better than anything we've seen on 3rd and long for a long time. Michael Wilson had a ridiculous contested catch on 3rd and 15. Like, there were a couple to Marv. Like, they're able to move the ball down the field. But for Drew Petzing to say that, it's just like, come on, man. Come on. 2.6 yards a carry. I don't know. Maybe I'm just diving way too much into it. I just don't know. Like, the reason why I struggle, the reason why I don't talk about this as much as some other outlets is like, whatever. What are they supposed to say? The running game sucked today. Fire me. The interesting part, what Jonathan Gannon was talking about, for those that didn't see, and I'm paraphrasing here, he spoke with the media yesterday, and he addressed like the hot seat things. He's like, I'm sure it's out there. I can just do what I can do, which is actually like a real human moment. And from everything that I've seen from people that I've talked to who have gotten more intimate time with him, he's a cool guy. He's a normal person. Like, he's not this like, droid that's just football. I don't eat. Like, I don't know what eating would have to do with it, but he's a normal person. So it was not refreshing, but the candid moment was like, it was nice. And I'm not talking about it nice, like, oh, nice, he's going to lose his job. I'm saying it was just a nice soundbite from a head coach who, is steering a ship that is in really rocky waters right now. So we'll see. I think the adjustments are key moving forward. There's going to be a lot of talk on this show about what to focus on amid the losing, what to focus on, what good takeaways that can be longer lasting. This is where you start to diagnose what the next year's roster is going to look like. And it sucks. And we're still, almost 2 months removed from the end of the season. But there is good on this team. And it will be highlighted on this show. And it will not be rainbows and butterflies or rose-colored glass or whatever the hell else cliche you want to use. It is going to be constructive because there are a lot of young players doing good things on this team that will be a part of this team for a long time. And they will be highlighted throughout the rest of the year. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is nothing. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, and crossover Thursdays on Thursday. It's Tuesday. I'm done. We'll talk to you tomorrow.